My beloved child, I did not call you merely to try and survive the dark days with weary breaths, but so that you may live as a witness, bearing light in an era still filled with much darkness. There was a time when you needed to be carried in my arms, a season when you only had enough strength to stand still so as not to fall. And I never despise those seasons of weakness. But today, I am placing a stronger call within your heart. Arise, not by the pride of the flesh, but by the power of a soul that knows it belongs to me. You were no longer born to hide in a cave of fear, nor were you preserved merely to live small, forever in the old garments of sorrow. I spoke in Isaiah 60:1, Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. That light does not merely warm you alone, it becomes a sign for those quietly observing your journey. Those who will find hope again when they see you continuing to walk despite having been struck down by the winds of life. I know you have grown accustomed to certain old ways of living, old defense mechanisms, and habits that once helped you survive difficult seasons. At times, they were like a crutch for the wounded, keeping you from falling when your heart was weak. But my child, a crutch is not a pair of wings, and what helped you survive the old season may not be enough to fly you into the new one. I am doing a new thing in you. As I spoke through Isaiah 43:19, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? But to recognize the new, you must be willing to let go of the patterns that have grown too tight. Do not be afraid to relearn. Do not be ashamed when I correct your vision. Do not cling to the old way simply because it is familiar. For familiarity is not always safety, and renewal in my hands is not loss, but expansion. You may tremble when I tell you to step out of the place where you have sheltered for so long. I understand that. A bird's nest might be warm, familiar, and shield young wings from the wind. But if the fledgling stays in the nest forever, it will never know how vast the sky created, for it truly is. I do not stir your nest to cause you pain, but to awaken the wings I have placed within you from the very beginning. Jesus said in John 10:10 that he came so that the sheep may have life, and have it to the full, that abundance is not merely having more of what you need, but stepping into the depth of my presence, the height of your calling, and the breadth of the love that can flow through you to others. If you remain forever in your comfort zone, you will think you are at peace. But in truth, you may be losing the horizons I want to open before your eyes. Remember, the new season is not merely a season for you to receive, but a season for you to become a flowing stream. I do not fill you so that you keep everything in a sealed vessel, but so that you pour out for those who thirst. When I comfort you, I also prepare you to comfort others. When I heal you, I also turn your scars into a testimony that grace is real. 2 Corinthians 1:4 says that I comfort you in all your troubles, so that you can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort you yourselves receive from me. Therefore, do not consider the things you have gone through as useless. Someone will need to hear the gentleness in your voice. Someone will need to see your patience to believe that they, too, can stand up. Someone will be drawn closer to me, not because you preach grand words, but because your life exudes the fragrance of one whom I have rescued from the deep. But you must also understand that every time you draw closer to my will, opposition will seek to rise. The enemy does not fear a person who only dreams in silence, but he trembles before one who begins to obey. He will use lies to make you doubt, use the past to make you falter, use noise to distract you, and use delay to make you miss your appointed time. Therefore, you must put on the armor I have given you. Ephesians 6:16-17 reminds you to take up the shield of faith, to extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. And take the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. You do not fight with the tension of the flesh, nor do you win by arguing with the darkness. You stand firm by truth, by prayer, by obedience, and by a vigilance that allows no lie to pitch its tent in your mind. I want your prayer life to no longer be an alarm bell that only rings in emergencies, but to become the steady breath of your soul. Prayer is not only when you ask me to open a door, but also when you let me open your eyes. It is not just the time you tell me what you want, but the time you listen to what I am doing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 teaches to pray continually, not so that you live under a heavy religious form, but so that you always keep the lifeline active between your heart and mine. In prayer, I will soften what is hard, illuminate what is obscure, fortify what is shaken, and impart to you a wisdom that human strength cannot generate. If you lack wisdom, remember James 1:5, which says that if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Look at Naaman, a commander full of prestige, but bearing the disease of leprosy in his body. He expected a grand method of healing, a ritual befitting his status. But the word given to him was simple: go down and wash in the Jordan River 7 times. At first, pride made him angry, because my way did not look like what he had imagined. But when he humbled himself and obeyed the spoken word, his flesh was restored like that of a young boy. You see, a miracle often lies behind a very small, simple act of obedience. So simple that you might overlook it because it does not match your expectations. In this new season, do not demand that I act in the ways you are used to. When I speak, step. When I prompt, act. When I hinder, stop. Timely obedience can unlock what years of striving by your own strength could not. I also want you to understand the power of an immediate response. There are moments when grace is placed before you, like an open door, and hesitation can cause your heart to grow cold toward what I have kindled. Peter did not step onto the water because he understood the entirety of the miracle's principles. He stepped because he heard the Lord say, "Come." You do not need to know the entire path before taking the first step. You only need to know that the one who calls you is faithful. If you fall, I will lift you. If you are afraid, I will hold your hand. If you are weak, I will give you strength. But you must leave the boat of false security to experience the water beneath the feet of one who trusts in my word. So today, my beloved, stop calling yourself someone who is merely trying to survive. I call you one who is sent forth, filled, equipped, and raised up for this time. Step into the new season with open eyes, a fervently praying heart, a mind ready to be renewed, hands wide open to serve, and feet swift in obedience. Do not fear change when I am the guide. Do not fear the battle when I am your shield. Do not fear giving when I myself am the inexhaustible source. Then, when you look back, you will see that you have not merely survived, but you have grown, borne fruit, and become a lamp for others. And you will know that the new season does not begin with your perfection, but with the moment you trusted me enough to rise and follow my voice. My beloved child, you have now crossed a threshold that you could previously only look at from afar by faith. But I want you to understand that what is happening in your life is not merely a change of circumstances, not just you being brought to a new position, meeting new people, or seeing a few doors open. This is a deep shift in the spiritual realm, where your identity, your calling, and your responsibilities are set into a new order according to my will. Long before you realized it, I was quietly preparing this place for you. I did not build it for you to exalt yourself, nor did I bring you here so you could boast that you are stronger than others. I placed you here so your life becomes a living proof that I am faithful to those who know how to wait, who know how to weep yet still pray, who are weary but do not let go of the promise. As 1 Corinthians 15:10 says, "But by the grace of God I am what I am." You must also engrave this in your heart. You did not arrive here by luck, by your own calculations, or because your strength was great enough, but by my grace that sustained you through every shadowed stretch of the road. Look back, and you will see there were days you thought you had lost your way. But in truth, I was leading you out of paths that were too narrow. There were things that collapsed before your eyes, causing you pain. But under my gaze, that was not senseless destruction. It was a necessary dismantling so that what does not belong to me could no longer hold you captive. You wept over broken relationships, but there are ties that, if not severed, would pull you away from the land I have destined for you. You once regretted past opportunities, but some opportunities only shine on the outside, while inside they are a detour, leading you far from your true purpose. I closed certain doors not because I wanted to disappoint you, but because behind them lay traps your eyes could not yet see. Proverbs 16:9 says that in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. You may have made plans, but I guarded your footsteps from places that seemed favorable, but would have withered your soul. The land you are setting foot in is not like the old land. This place requires you to live more watchfully, more deeply, and more maturely. The words I once spoke in secret will begin to take on a shape you can recognize. The seeds you sowed in tears will begin to break through the soil, not always loudly, but as persistently as a life that cannot be buried forever. Psalm 126:5 says, "Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy." You will see things from your past that seem disjointed suddenly connecting, a delay, a passing encounter, a gentle nudge in your heart, a loss that once shattered you, all used by me like threads in a grand tapestry. When you stood too close to the pain, you only saw tangled threads. But when I elevate your vision, you will see that I have never worked in chaos. I have woven all things with a wisdom you only begin to understand when the season of fulfillment unfolds. But my child, the promised land is not a place for you to let your soul slacken. I brought you here not just to rest on blessings, but so you can begin building with the wisdom I have forged in you. There will be new responsibilities accompanying new graces. Your decisions from now on will affect more people than before. Your words will need to be weighed in the fear of me. Doors open not just for you to walk through, but for you to bring my light, righteousness, and mercy into those spaces. Luke 12:48 reminds us that from everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. This word is not meant to burden your heart, but for you to understand that my elevation always comes with deeper sanctification. I do not want you to lose your humility as blessings increase, nor do I want you to let busyness replace my presence. Remember Nehemiah, who heard that the walls of Jerusalem lay in ruins, and whose heart ached before me. He did not merely weep and stand still, he prayed, fasted, waited for the right time, and then stepped into the work of rebuilding with wisdom and courage. When he began to rebuild the wall, opposition immediately arose. Sanballat and Tobiah mocked, threatened, and plotted to distract him. But Nehemiah did not leave the work I assigned him. He said, "I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down." You see, the new land always has voices trying to pull you down from your position. Not every invitation is worth your response. Not every argument is worth draining the oil from your lamp. Sometimes your victory does not lie in explaining yourself to everyone, but in continuing to build what I have told you to build. Therefore, you must maintain spiritual discipline like a watchman at the city gates. Do not let the noise of the new season make you forget my voice. Do not let the busyness of building cause you to neglect your prayer life. Do not let blessings make you lower your guard against subtle traps. Even in the promised land, there are still strongholds to confront. But you do not fight alone. Joshua 1:9 commands, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." I do not just walk around you as an external shield. I am within you as the source of life, as wisdom, as the fire keeping your heart from growing cold. When you do not know whether to step or wait, ask me. When you do not know whether to speak or keep silent, let my peace rule in your heart. When you face a seemingly small decision, remember that grand keys are sometimes hidden in very simple acts of obedience. My beloved, my presence in this season will become more intimate if you continue to abide in me. My voice will not always be loud, but it will be clear to a heart willing to listen. I will teach you to discern the rhythm of the Holy Spirit, when to advance, when to stop, when to open your heart, when to close the door, when to sow, when to let the ground rest. Isaiah 30:21 says that your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Let that word become your breath in the new land. Do not run ahead of me out of impatience, nor lag behind me out of fear. Walk with me day by day, for enduring blessings come not only from the open door, but from my presence in your every step. So today, stand in the position I have given you with reverence and gratitude. Do not be prideful for being elevated, nor fearful of the greater responsibility. I have prepared you through the years you thought were merely delays. I forged you through seasons you thought were nothing but loss. I taught you discernment through closed doors, taught you patience through promises not yet formed, taught you to love my presence more than any outward sign. Now, as the pieces begin to fit together, remember that this is not a reward for you to sleep on, but an invitation for you to build, serve, and shine. If you continue to obey, keep your heart pure, keep your ears attentive, and keep your eyes fixed on me. No power can block the flow of grace I have destined for you. I have gone before you. I am with you, and I will make the place where you stand holy ground, where promises sprout, where purpose grows, and where your life becomes a living witness that my hand has never left you. When the increase begins, you will see consecutive doors opening, but I do not want you to become so enamored with the doors that you forget the one opening them. You will meet people whose hearts I have already touched. Once distant relationships will suddenly draw near, and opportunities that seemed out of reach will suddenly find you through paths you did not draw yourself. But, my child, the light I placed in you is not given so that you can shine it on your own name. I elevate you so that through your life, others may see that I am faithful, the one who keeps promises, the one who can cause springs to well up in a parched land. Jesus commanded in Matthew 5:16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Therefore, when people see the transformation in you, let them not only be amazed by you, but be led to gratitude toward me. In the coming season, you will need to walk with greater sensitivity than before. Decisions will come swiftly. Invitations will need to be weighed in a short time, and opportunities that look highly appealing to the natural eye will arise. But not everything that glitters comes from my light. Therefore, Peace will become the watchman within your heart. Colossians 3:15 says to let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. That peace is not a temporary feeling of comfort, but the profound seal of the Holy Spirit confirming you are on the right path. If the outside world is rushing but your inside is pulled into chaos, stop. If a door opens but your heart lacks holy confirmation, seek me before stepping. I do not lead you through ambiguity when you truly want to listen. I will show you when to speak, when to be silent, when to advance, when to wait, and when to walk away from something that seems good but is not your portion. You must also understand that a blessing does not merely bring you joy, it also reveals what you are stewarding in your heart. When people are in lack, they easily say they will be faithful if they have more. But when abundance comes, what is truly in their hearts is exposed. This is why I trained you through the small things, through seasons when no one applauded, through quiet responsibilities, through times you had to choose what is right even when unseen. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." I have seen those small drops of your faithfulness. I saw the times you still prayed when there were no results, still did what was upright when no one praised you, still kept your heart tender when you had every reason to be bitter. Now, if I entrust you with more credibility, more resources, more influence, remember that all of it is wealth entrusted to your care, not a throne for you to build for yourself. Remember Joseph, my child, before standing in the palace of Egypt to administer food for many nations, he went through the deep pit, the house of slavery, and the dark dungeon. His many years looked like loss, but I was forging in him the wisdom, purity, endurance, and administrative capacity that the palace would require. When the time came, Joseph was elevated very quickly, but he did not use his power for revenge, nor did he use his new position to exalt himself. He recognized that what others intended for harm, I could turn into good to save many lives. As recorded in Genesis 50:20, you see, the season of elevation truly does not just bring honor to a person. It turns that person into a conduit of life for many other souls. I also want you to step into the increase with such a heart, not petty, not boastful, not forgetting the source, but knowing that what I place in your hands must become bread for the hungry, water for the thirsty, and hope for the weary. However, do not be naive regarding opposition. When the flow of blessings is stronger, the enemy will try to distract you with things that do not bear eternal fruit. He may not be able to steal what I have given, but he will seek to exhaust you with useless arguments, worries not assigned to you to carry, praises that steal your humility, or criticisms that make you forget who called you. Therefore, guard your mornings. Before you listen to men, come and listen to me. Before you open your heart to the news, plans, and demands of the new day, place your soul under the light of my word. Psalm 5:3 says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. When the day draws to a close, hand all your burdens back to me. Do not carry them into sleep as if you are the one holding up the entire universe." 1 Peter 5:7 reminds you to cast all your anxiety on me. Because I care for you, you will see provision coming in many forms. It might be someone offering a timely word of upliftment, an opportunity for collaboration bearing the mark of divine arrangement, a shortfall filled in ways you did not expect, or a door of resources opening when you thought you had reached your limit. But my child, do not only look for blessings in what can be counted. The greater blessing is knowing you are exactly where I want you to be, living to the rhythm I lead. doing the very thing I assigned, and walking with a heart untorn by personal ambition. Proverbs 10:22 says that the blessing of the Lord brings wealth, without painful toil for it. The wealth I want for you is not merely what lies in your hands, but spiritual steadfastness, clarity in decisions, peace in your heart, and the ability to use what is entrusted to you for a holy purpose. So today, prepare your heart for the harvest with humility. Do not enter the fulfillment with the mindset of someone demanding a debt from heaven, but with the gratitude of one who understands they have been shown mercy. The valleys you walked through were not in vain. The days of drought were not meaningless. The storms you thought would strike you down forged deeper roots within you. And now, as I bring the timely rains, as the seeds sown in tears begin to sprout, as the promises are no longer distant blurs, but gradually materialize in your daily life, keep your eyes fixed on me. Do not run ahead of me out of excitement, nor shrink back out of fear that you are unworthy. Follow me, step by step, with a pure heart, wide open hands, and attentive ears. Because the season of harvest is not just a time for you to receive, it is the time you become a living witness that I have preserved, prepared, and guided you, and that at the appointed time, I make everything I have spoken over your life bloom in the light of grace. However, my child, precisely because there is a spiritual movement, there will also be mists of smoke trying to obscure your vision. Not every cry is true repentance. Not every return bears the mark of healing. And not every rising emotion is guidance from me. Old things will try to find their way back, not in terrifying shapes, but in pitiful appearances, through tender memories, through stories that make your heart want to hastily open its arms when I have not yet told you to step forward. Remember that the enemy of your soul does not always use storms. Sometimes he uses a gentle breeze to push you off the course of obedience. Therefore, I teach you to be watchful without bitter suspicion, to be tender-hearted without losing discernment, to love without putting yourself back into old chains. My word says, test the spirits to see whether they are from God. And you need to bring every emotion, every signal, every message, and every silence under my light before reacting. Perhaps in your heart there is a person, a situation, or a bond whose silence hurts you like a door slamming shut in the middle of the night. You want to know what they are thinking, where they are, why they do not respond, why the promise seems suspended in a void. But, my child, I do not call you to the path of speculation. I call you to the place of intercession. Do not use your imagination to fill the gaps that only I know. Do not let worry build a story and then force your soul to live inside that narrative. There are battles taking place in the hearts of others that you cannot see. There are cords binding them that your eyes cannot detect. There are voices tugging at their minds that you cannot hear. But I hear, I see, I know every hidden thought, every unnamed wound, every door they lack the courage to close. Your part is not to force the door open by your own strength, but to stand in love, pray in purity, and let me do what only I have the authority to do. Remember the story of Daniel, who fasted, humbled himself, and sought me for many days. In human eyes, it seemed nothing was happening. The sky remained silent. The circumstances remained still. The answer had not yet come. But in the unseen realm, a conflict was taking place. The angel was sent to tell him that from the first day, he set his mind to gain understanding and to humble himself before God. His words were heard, but there was opposition in the spiritual realm, delaying the messenger's journey. You see, a delay does not always mean a denial from me. Sometimes what you call silence is the sign of a battle that heaven is handling. Therefore, Do not give up on the 19th day if the 21st day is when the answer walks through the door. Do not use today's weariness as a measure for my eternal faithfulness. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective, not because you are strong, but because I am the one who hears your words and causes the good to overcome all opposition. So, do not hastily use your own hands to fix what I am healing with grace. There are times when the more you intervene, the tighter the knot becomes, the more you explain. The more their heart closes, the harder you pull, the more the process is damaged. I am not telling you to be passive, but I am telling you to be submissive. Submission is not sitting still in fear, but acting on the part I assigned and stopping exactly where I tell you to. When I tell you to pray, do not turn prayer into control. When I tell you to wait, do not turn waiting into bitterness. When I tell you to be silent, do not mistake silence for defeat. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world, but they have divine power to demolish strongholds. Therefore, what you need to hold today is not manipulation, not reproach, not panic, but faith, vigilance, forgiveness, and a tongue cleansed from negative words. I know steadfastness is not easy, especially when your emotions rise and fall like waves crashing against the rocks. Some days you feel strong, and other days, even a tiny sign makes you want to turn back to the old path. But my beloved, spiritual maturity is not the absence of emotion. It is when emotions no longer rule the throne of your heart. Let my peace be the gatekeeper. Let my word judge the things pulling at you. If something causes you to lose your purity, lose your peace, lose your obedience, then no matter how familiar it seems, you must lay it down before me. Be still, and know that I am God is not a lullaby to put you to sleep, but a call to stand firm amidst the chaos. Stillness in me has more power than hundreds of hasty actions outside my will. Lift up your eyes, my beloved. On earth, there may still be no clear signs, but that does not mean heaven is immobile. I am working in the secret place. I am handling the things you cannot touch. I am speaking to the hearts you cannot open. Your part is to abide in me. Pray tirelessly. Love without blindness. Wait without despair. And walk without haste. When the time is ripe, what needs to be revealed will be revealed. The one who needs to be awakened will hear the call, and the door that belongs to me will open without anyone being able to shut it. Until then, let your soul rest in me, for I am the one who fights for you. I am the keeper of promises, and I am the Father who never lets you walk alone across this invisible battlefield.